I've been eating upwards of 100 eggs a week for the last 6 years on a carnivore diet. And let me tell you, there are ups and downs. On one hand, eggs are one of the most nutrient dense, versatile foods you can possibly eat. But on the other hand, I have heard countless Steak and Butter Gang members talk about negative side effects from consuming eggs. For example, like itchy skin, sinus issues, painful bloating, or even full on allergic reactions. But what if I told you that if you've been experiencing these symptoms, you have just been eating eggs wrong and you might not be allergic or sensitive to eggs after all? So today, I'm going to share everything I know and have learned about eggs as a sensitive, allergy prone carnivore who really had to navigate the ups and downs of my all time favorite food. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why egg sensitivities happen and exactly what to do to safely enjoy as many eggs as you want without the worries. Not all eggs are created equal. When you go into a grocery store, you will see eggs labeled cage-free, conventional, free-range, and then pasture-raised. And superior quality not only means superior nutrition, but also for those who are very sensitive and long-haul healers. It could also mean a lower chance of causing allergies and flare-ups. First up, we have conventional eggs, which come from hens that are typically kept in cramped cages and fed a diet of corn and soy. While they're often the cheapest option, they may lack the nutritional benefits found in other types of eggs. Then there are cage-free eggs. These hens are allowed to roam a bit more, but are still often kept indoors in crowded conditions. They generally have slightly better living conditions than conventional hens, but that doesn't always translate to better nutrition. Next, we have free-range eggs. These hens get some outdoor access, which is a step up from the previous options. They can forage a bit and enjoy some sunlight, but the quality can still vary widely from brand to brand. And then finally, there are pasture-raised eggs. This is where you really want to focus your efforts in investing in. Hens that are pasture-raised roam freely on grassy fields, eating a natural diet that includes insects and plants. This diet not only improves their quality of life, but also results in eggs that are richer in essential nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins. And for those who want to take it a step even further to troubleshoot, I would actually go to my local farmer's market wherever you're located and see if you can find soy-free pasture-raised eggs. This is probably the most gentle, non-inflammatory egg I have ever been able to get my hands on, and it helped immensely when I was healing histamine intolerance and my skin autoimmune issues. If you cannot find any soy-free pasture-raised chicken eggs, I highly recommend you guys look for duck eggs, goose eggs, and even quail eggs. And I have witnessed countless times and cases in the carnivore community of people with extreme histamine intolerance or lots of autoimmune healing to do be able to tolerate duck eggs with no issues when they frequently get flare-ups from chicken eggs. Most of us are allergic or at least sensitive to some extent to GMOs, gluten, and soy. So if our food is being fed soy, GMOs, then we most likely can be receiving that secondhand sensitivity from those eggs. Pasture-raised eggs tend to have lower levels of histamines because the hens are just way less stressed than conventional laying hens, along with having lower levels of allergenic proteins that are present in all eggs. And this is exactly what I want to talk about next. So if all eggs contain these allergenic proteins, doesn't that make all eggs, even pasture-raised ones, a threat to sensitive carnivores? The answer is yes and no. So I learned from Dr. Ken Berry that all eggs contain 3 major anti-nutrients that explain a lot of allergic symptoms many of you will be familiar with. First, there's avidin. Avidin is a biotin blocker, meaning that it can prevent your body from absorbing a vitamin called biotin. Biotin is super important for keeping your skin and hair healthy. So if you have a lot of eggs in your diet, you might not get enough biotin, which could lead to symptoms like dry, itchy skin, or even hair loss. Next up, we have ovomucin, which is known for being a protein blocker because it inhibits trypsin, an enzyme that helps your body digest food. And if your digestion isn't working optimally, you might experience stomach issues like painful bloating, discomfort after eating food, gas, and indigestion. And lastly, we have ovostatin, which is another anti-nutrient that blocks digestive enzymes from working properly, much like ovomucin. So do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you when you eat eggs? I won't be surprised if they do, because they're literally the most common reported allergic symptoms and reactions from people who eat eggs. Now, the bad news is that no matter where you get your eggs and no matter how high quality those eggs can be, there is no running away from these 3 major anti-nutrients. But here's where the good news and the troubleshooting comes in. You can still enjoy your eggs without worrying about these allergy inducing anti nutrients. And that's because the real trouble lies in the egg whites. The egg whites pack all the avidin, ovomucin, and ovostatin in the egg, not the yolk. So there are a couple ways that I personally recommend experimenting with this yourselves to safely enjoy your eggs while also dodging all of those pesky symptoms. The first no-brainer option is to eat only the egg yolks. And that's fine because all the essential nutrition like vitamin A, D, choline, and healthy fats are in the egg yolks. But also, by cooking the whites thoroughly, you can reduce the amount of allergic potential by denaturing the proteins that can trigger all those nasty symptoms. Now, I personally have found that experimenting with different cooking methods is absolutely worth experimenting with because we all will respond differently to the egg whites. And when you cook it in different ways, you will get to see and feel which cooking method works best for you. I have probably cooked eggs every single type of way you could possibly cook an egg. Probably the worst and most painful outcome of all the different types of ways that I ate eggs was to eat the egg raw. So the biggest mistake you could possibly make, especially when going carnivore and all you're trying to do is heal and feel good, lose weight maybe as well, is to eat egg whites raw. Okay? That is basically asking for a stomachache, for bloat, for indigestion and gas. And if you have autoimmune issues, especially skin ones, that is also asking for a flare up because like I shared earlier, the anti-nutrients. There are literal anti-nutrients in those egg whites, and the only way to kill it and denature it is to cook it fully. And I do want to stress, through my 6 years of experimenting with eggs, you do have to really be diligent to cook those egg whites thoroughly. And this is where nuance is important. If you're going to cook an entire egg and you are so focused on cooking that egg white so it's fully cooked through, then if you're cooking the egg yolks with the egg whites, guess what? You are basically ruining all of the amazing nutrients that is in that egg yolk. The ideal way to eat an egg is to eat the egg yolk raw and to eat the egg white fully cooked. So where can we meet in the middle? This is where I have found eating scrambled eggs is probably the easiest way to digest an egg. And I want to share with you my little secret way of cooking scrambled eggs. I call it the Bella scramble. So we're going to separate our egg yolks from our egg whites. We're going to beat up the yolks and then beat up the raw egg whites in 2 separate bowls. We're going to heat up our pan with the lowest inflammatory animal fat there is, which is tallow, beef fat. So coat that pan with some tallow. Once it's coated, we are going to first pour our beat up egg whites. Why? Because we want to cook our egg whites thoroughly. So we're going to cook that first and for the longest time. Scramble those egg whites up, mix it, cook it the way that you like. And when it is about cooked, that is when you pour in your delicious raw egg yolks. And then we're going to turn off that fire. So whatever fire you turned up to cook your egg whites, I want you to turn off that fire. And I want you to just let those raw yolks cook lightly and slowly from the residual heat left in the egg whites. And that, I'm telling you, is the best way to eat, enjoy, and digest the egg. When I was extremely histamine intolerant, I actually had a phase where I couldn't eat egg whites, period. So this may be you for a period of time. There is hope for most carnivores to be able to reverse it. After avoiding egg whites completely for a couple months, when I added it back in, I did notice a huge difference in the way that I reacted and digested the full egg when I cooked it that special Bella scramble way. The beautiful thing about this scramble is these eggs will soak in as much animal fat you cook it in. So if you want to be high fat and you want to make sure that you really focus on healing as quickly as possible, then I do recommend a very high fat carnivore approach. I will link the best resources to learn why a high fat carnivore approach is the best way to go carnivore. So check out the description box, please. But I just want to focus on eggs here. I spent about 6 months just eating my fatty Bella scramble every single day. Some days I would eat 12 eggs worth of Bella scramble. Other days I would probably eat 8. I have had tens of thousands of eggs by now, and there's no way I could have been able to eat that many with 0 bloat, 0 skin flare-ups, and look at how flared up my skin could possibly get. I really have healed so much with a high-fat carnivore diet and by being extremely mindful with the way that I cooked eggs. So I want to finish off with my last major observation. To this day, 6 years into a carnivore diet, I still can't seem to really properly digest boiled eggs. It doesn't matter if it's soft boiled, it doesn't matter if it's hard boiled, somewhere in the middle boiled. Something about boiled eggs for me just gives me immediate bloat, gas, sometimes discomfort in my stomach after eating them. Maybe when I cook my eggs soft boiled, the egg whites are still pretty raw. And so the anti-nutrients are still very much there. But either way, I have never truly found a trick or masterful strategy to eat boiled eggs in a way where I don't get any bloat or gas. My last recommendation for the top ways to cook an egg for minimal negative symptoms, if any, is my mama's egg pudding. So if you don't know about my steamed egg pudding dish yet, I learned it from my mom. I actually grew up eating this dish and it is life-changing. It has been life-changing for so many of you carnivores who follow me, who try my recipes and let me know how they do for you. And to this day, it's one of the most positively reviewed and received recipe to date because it has saved so many of you guys who have allergies to eggs to finally be able to enjoy eggs again. You can either make the egg pudding with just the yolks, it's still going to be perfect, or you can experiment eating egg whites for the first time by using this egg pudding method. I will make sure to link the video recipe right here or right here, and definitely in the description box as well. This is the time where I would really love to request from you all to share down below in the comments your experience with eggs, because I know I'm not the only one who may have very different reactions. Now, to wrap up, the most important thing I really wanted to say today in this video about eggs is that sometimes we get disillusioned about what we're actually allergic to. And that misunderstanding happens all the time when it comes to food sensitivities. Again, there is hope for all of you watching who do have allergies or sensitivities to eggs. Histamine intolerance and egg allergies can be healed and fixed for good. One more good example of this that I can think of is the initial adaptation period. So a lot of new carnivores are turned off by that adaptation period because we all hear about the headaches, the diarrhea, the low energy, the muscle cramping, and we misunderstand it as the body rejecting a carnivore diet, when really it's just a simple electrolyte imbalance. The easiest fix for electrolyte imbalance is to just salt all of your carnivore meals even heavier. So if you're already salting it, salt it even more generously. And that should really help with fixing that electrolyte imbalance. If you want an even more effective and potent method of resolving electrolyte imbalance, then I recommend leaning on a high quality electrolyte supplement. This is the one that I recommend. It is from the brand Element, and specifically this blue colored box labeled raw unflavored. These little packets have the 3 electrolytes already measured out in the ideal quantities, and you just rip one open, pour it in whatever you're drinking, mix it up, drink it down, and you're good to go. Now, if you're sensitive to store-bought electrolytes, I have an easy at-home recipe to make it yourself and save a lot of money on my YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to link it down below as well. You all can get a free sample pack like this, which includes the raw unflavored, if you go to the URL shown on the screen, drinkelementi.com/SBGAL. I've also linked them down below. Remember that it's all about finding what works best for your body, whether that's sticking to yolks only, cooking your egg whites even thoroughly than before, or experimenting with different preparation methods. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in my next one. SVG out.